investigative tranches with respect to Russia, we need to start interviewing witnesses and accessing documents and let the politics kind of go away.
Isn't that the problem right there? I mean, as you've just spelled it out, because of everything that's going on with Chairman Nunes, everything has been stalled this week. In fact, one of your Democratic colleagues, Jim Himes, says that you're in deep freeze mode. Doesn't that tell you that he needs to recuse himself?
Well, I'm smiling because I don't know when Congress not doing something for a week was deep freeze mode. That's not unusual up here that we would have a week where we didn't have a whole lot to show for it.
But you were scheduled. Hold on one second, Congressman. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you were scheduled to do interviews and to hold hearings. Sally Yates was supposed to appear, Jim Comey, but that, for whatever reason, Chairman Nunes indefinitely postponed it or canceled it. So what's going on?
Well, I think that for whatever reason, it's really important. You saw the hearing last Monday where almost 100 times the two witnesses said, I cannot answer in this forum. So why you would go back to a forum where the seminal witnesses can't answer the question is befuddling to me. I want to talk to Sally Yates. Sally Yates is an important fact witness. We're going to talk to Sally Yates. The fact that we didn't do it this Tuesday doesn't mean we're not going to do it next Tuesday.
But why didn't you do it this Tuesday?
We're about a week behind. We're about a week behind. But if we start next week, we can catch up.
I hear you, but you could have done it in a closed meeting. Why not do it this week?
I think it's important that we talk to Comey and Rogers again first. They really are, Allison, the two most important witnesses, at least with 3 of the 4 tranches. And when you answer 100 times, I can tell you, but I can't tell you in this forum, then why would you not bring back the 2 seminal witnesses to say, okay, we're in a different forum. Answer those almost 100 questions, and then we'll move to Clapper, and then we'll move to Brennan, and then we'll move to Ms. Yates.
Okay.
That is the natural chronology, and that's what I hope we do.
You make a great point. Why didn't it happen this week in a closed forum? It was scheduled, and then it was canceled.
Well, you mean Rogers and Comey. I think it's really important that we talk to them again. I'm not to their calendars. They came last Monday. Perhaps they could not come this week, but it is, in my judgment, indispensable that we talk to the 2 seminal witnesses again, see what questions they can ask. That's then going to lead to different questions for Ms. Yates and Brennan and Clapper. So there's always a natural chronology in an investigation. I like to go chronologically. I like to start with the seminal witnesses, and then they can identify other witnesses. I don't know what Director Comey and Admiral Rogers schedule. They're 2 really important, busy guys. The fact that they could not come back-to-back weeks before Congress and spend 6 hours before us does not surprise me. But I expect them to come, and I expect them to come quickly.
And so Congressman,
not intentional, but I asked the question inartfully of Jay Johnson, and when he answered the way he did, it very easily could have been going to the third part of that tranche, which there has been public reporting on, as opposed to the first two. So I would say blame me for a bad question and not Jay Johnson for a vague answer. But
the bottom line is you're not taking it as definitive one way or the other because it was too broad.
I can't, we are so early on in the investigatory process. We have interviewed less than a tenth of the witnesses that we're going to wind up interviewing. So I would hope that no one was drawing any conclusions from anything. That's what you do at the end of an investigation, not in the front of it.
All right. Chairman Gowdy, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Carolina Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy. He was chairman of the House Select Committee on Benghazi, which first discovered that Clinton used a private email server. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Congressman, explain why you are comfortable with Director Comey releasing word to Congress that there is this new wrinkle in the investigation involving Huma Abedin's emails before knowing if there's any there.
Well, I think there are two reasons. Number one, Allison, let's just concede being a police officer and a prosecutor is a lonely and tough job, and unusual facts make for some pretty tough conclusions. But he did tell Congress in July that the investigation had been completed, and he had determined that she didn't have specific intent to commit a crime. So I think he felt the need to supplement the record. Remember, John Koskinen is being investigated for potential impeachment for failing to supplement the record and update Congress. So I think, number one, you take him at his word that he wanted to supplement the record. But number two, let's assume arguendo that Secretary Clinton today were to say to a rally, all of this is in the rearview mirror. I've been investigated. All of my aides have been investigated. There's nothing here. Well, if Comey knows that there is potentially new information that may impact the investigation, then what she's saying is not true. So under the general theory that the public should be given the information and then they can sort it out, my guess is he wanted us to know that there was new, potentially relevant information.
Right, before knowing if it is relevant. I mean, you've heard lots of legal experts say that it just breaks with protocol, him coming forward before knowing if there's relevant information.
Yeah, I wish I had a nickel for every time I asked the media not to report the facts of one of my murder trials on the morning of jury selection, and they did it anyway under a theory that the public has a right to know. I wish the president had not prejudged the investigation when he did so. I wish Loretta Lynch had not met with Bill Clinton on the tarmac. So I wish a lot of things had not happened in this case. Again, this is an unusual fact pattern which leads to unusual conclusions.
Okay, so in terms of the public's right to know, do you share that same measure about whether or not the FBI should talk about any investigation they have into Donald Trump's campaign's ties to Russia?
Well, as a general rule, the Bureau does not confirm or deny the existence of an investigation, although that